behind the scenes, Republicans are finally starting to worry about the fact that maybe they've suppressed one too many voters. What's happening right now, and actually we had discussed this a couple weeks ago because you had Republicans in Florida freaking out about this, but across the country right now in Republican-controlled states, there are hundreds of pieces of legislation to curtail the voting rights of American citizens. And one of the big targets that Republicans have is voting by mail. And that is the one that they're actually kind of freaking out about right now, just like they were in Florida a couple weeks ago, and they still are. Because for years, Republicans have been telling their voters, the mostly elderly base, vote by mail. Just request a mail-in ballot. That way you don't have to go stand in the long lines. You don't have to leave your house. You're more than welcome to vote by mail and everything will be cool. But under all of the proposed and some of the past legislation, a lot of those Republican voters are no longer eligible to vote by mail. You got to get up. You got to leave the house. You got to go down to the polling station. You got to stand in line. You got to go through the whole rigmarole. And Republicans believe that this is going to dramatically decrease their turnout in upcoming elections. And that's actually only part of the problem that Republicans are freaking out about. The other thing happened last Tuesday actually, over in New Mexico, special election. The Republican candidate got handily defeated because there was a drop in Republican turnout of 66%. A 66% drop in Republican turnout, and the New Mexico Republican Party believes that that drop in turnout was due to the fact that Republicans have spent the last 6 months telling us that elections are not safe, that we cannot trust elections, so they believe that that talking point suppressed their own voters to the point where the Democrats easily won that special election. Now, you have to take into consideration in that specific example the fact that, yes, the turnout was down 66% from the general election. This was a special election, not even held in November. So, yeah, the turnout's going to be lower, but it was statistically and historically lower than other special elections that have taken place. And it was enough to make Republicans in New Mexico panic. So between those two things, the Republicans' repeated lies that elections are not safe, which is suppressing their own voters, and the you can't vote by mail, Republicans have a big problem. Now, that's not obviously to say that Democrats are going to win the next elections because Republicans shot themselves in the foot. No, you're probably going to have more Democratic voters disenfranchised than Republicans. But there is a bit of a difference here, too. Republicans are disillusioned with the system. Democrats are pissed off. And a lot of those pissed off voters are going to do whatever it takes, whatever is within their power, to actually show up to vote to spite these Republican voting bills. Now, is it going to be enough to give Democrats victories? Maybe. That's something that honestly we're not going to know until Election Day of 2022 for the midterms. But the fact that Republicans are so damn stupid that they managed to suppress their own voters in two different ways tells you everything you need to know about the Republican Party. It really is like shoot first, ask questions later. Because they easily could have just not put that provision in these bills, the voting by mail thing, then they would have nothing to worry about. They've suppressed Democrats. Republicans can still do what they do. But they didn't think it through, because they never think it through. Then, of course, the big talking point of you can't trust elections. Yeah, it resonated very well with your base. A little too well. Resonated well enough to make them stay home and cost you a candidate.